Hello, everybody. This is Dave Weigel, parental alienation activist and warrior. And we're here in front of 60 Center Street, where I just learned last week by having to walk into the office, the pro se office, that lo and behold, I have court on Tuesday. And then on Friday, I receive this pile of dung perpetrated to be a legal document signed off by judges and officers of the court as to be true and honest evaluation of my divorce, of the financial aspect of my divorce. I've been saying for years, okay, that there is an epidemic in this country that is going on of government-sponsored racketeering, okay? It's systemic fraud at the highest level, and this world is being littered with victims, most notably children, my children, because of this greed and absurd and obscene and obvious malfeasance and fraud. Just financial fraud. And who am I to say this? Okay, I'm a certified financial planner. Anybody on Wall Street will tell you it's one of the highest and most respected certifications you can have for competence. And a big part of that, 1/6, is ethics. And we are audited every 2 years as an SEC registered fiduciary. There is no job on the planet that assures honesty and fair dealing more than my profession, my chosen profession. And what I'm looking at here is that the flim-flam excuse to make this seem like this is not one judge's decision, Judge Tandra L. Dawson, who ever since March 15th of 2020, it was brought up in court, my private email, my violation to my privacy was used against me, where I used the term corruption because I have eyes and ears and say what everybody walking the streets of New York knows, but can't be uttered in these halls because, hey, this is the recourse. Why am I doing this here? Because the recourse system is file an appeal to them. Goes right back to them. Oh yeah, by the way, there's corruption here. Oh, there is? Okay, bring it back to them to decide. No. Okay, that's what makes this necessary. People have to be held accountable. This is an epidemic. Okay, this is mass child abuse going on in this country. Lives are being destroyed. My life has almost been destroyed. For 4 or 5 years, I have had every bit of evidence. I have 4,800 files of proof. Not one of them Judge Dawson will allow to be seen and dealt with in her court. So then I'm going to have to put them on the court of public opinion forever. Thank God I don't have to go to New York Times in today's day. Thank God this is public record and will be forever. And I'm not scared because everything I'm saying today, I have absolute evidence of. And yes, I could be brought in as an expert witness in financial fraud. I may not know the laws and what's considered this and what technicality that, which has allowed this sham to go on for 5 years. But I know how to speak normal and talk to people about, yeah, here's how the business model of the scam works. Okay? Judge Dawson needed to make it seem like it wasn't just her shoving this down my throat and committing all this fraud. So she refers this to Judge Referee Joanne Honig back on March 21st of this year, 2023. But upon announcing that it's been referred to her, it's also announced that court has to be in 6 days on the 27th. And by the way, it cannot be postponed. It has to be done. Everybody knows in these divorces, the financial end is where all the complexity is. We were in court for 4.5 years discussing various fake analyses of drug tests that I passed that were lied about and said that I failed because you have to support this recipe of fraud. Okay? So this court case has to happen on the 27th. And I just find out on Friday that not only was it not dismissed, which I thought it was all year long, that the preliminary meeting this being a preliminary meeting, seeing from Taylor Koss, my attorney at the time, saying, how can you default on him when it's only a preliminary meeting and a preliminary hearing? And Judge Honing said, since he's not your client, please refrain from contacting me on March 27th. So I've been pro se since March 27th. What's gone on all year long? How many meetings has there been? How many discussions to come up with this document, this finality that I've never spoken to you? You've never looked at a single document of any finances, of anything to do with our assets or income for the last 5 years. And one thing I know that has nothing to do with me or you or Taylor Koss or Daniel Notes is what is financial fraud 101 is you cannot take my income from 5 years ago in another industry, working for another company, having different licenses, pre-COVID, a completely different world, and then match them up to my ex's income 2 years later, the only 1 year of her life where she was unemployed. Cherry picking dates is financial fraud. Period. End of story. It's financial fraud. And that's how you come to this. So this case was referred over to Judge Honing, and it was her job to assess the financial aspect of this divorce. Yet, right here, you make Babette Gambino have to spew your lies for you. You can't even say it yourself, Dawson. You make Bambino say, oh, no, we don't have to do discovery. It's been decided. It's settled. That's right. What does everybody in the country know about a divorce? That the first thing that you do is you exchange financial statements from the previous 3 years. That was ordered September of 19. To this date, as I hold this final referee's report, it has never been done. But how is that? How can a judge of a U.S. court system make a decision on financial matters of the breakup of an estate, a marital estate, without ever looking, ever asking for a single document of relevance in the last 5 years? I'm in a completely different situation. This is the biggest FU that you can get away with anything because you're saying that there is no checks and balances. People, I'm putting this out here like this because this is changing the DNA of our country, of our society. The only thing that's made us better than any other country is we had the rule of law and we had checks and balances, okay? There is no checks and balances in this world. When it's the judge that is committing crimes, who's the judge's judge? Where's the FBI? Please, Joe Rogan, take this on. Funny little tidbit in here. I made mention that I was going to get on the Joe Rogan show, just throwing out frustrations. And they spoke on the transcripts 4 times more about Joe Rogan and what kind of readership he had, what kind of subscribers he had, more than asking the question, so what's going on with my kids, with the kids? Yeah. That is what this system, we've been charged at doing the right thing and looking out for the children's best interest. This whole case needs to be looked at. Funny enough, I was put through last year a 7-part SEC examination. Okay, so yeah, of course I'm going to be called a liar here. Well, as a fiduciary registered with the Securities Exchange Commission, every 2 years you have to go through routine audits. That's right. You have to submit every page of documentation with them looking to find you lying in one spot. Except it didn't end there. It had 6 additional follow-ups. It took 600 hours. I submitted 50,000 pages of documentation. And they came back with nothing. Yeah. That's how honest I am. That is why Judge Tandra Dawson has not allowed any evidence that David Weigel possesses to see the light of day in her court, so that she can punish me for having the audacity to stand up and whistleblow about this corrupt system that has enriched her whole little crew. And I'm going to give you a little bit of tidbit of how the business model works, because this is my training. And how successful have I been in this? Well, there's not many jobs where your assessment of reality is put to the test and put to numbers. Well, over the last 10 years, my specialty of studying complex organizations and complex structures and finding the bullshit, finding the liar. That's all my analysis, the heart of my analysis. And what are the results of that analysis? Well, yes, over this 11-year divorce, I also happen to best 99% of all of my competitors in fixed income portfolio management around the world. Not me saying it, just the hard, cold numbers. Yes. So let's please talk about how you did not allow all the letters from my doctors, my brain trust, that said that we would not object to Mr. Weigel getting full custody of his children. Oh, that did not square with your assessment. So what'd you do? Threw it out. Pretend it didn't exist. You hired your own to come in and in 20 minutes give you the exact assessment that you wanted. What happened to the 24 letters from CEOs, doctors, lawyers, business owners, family members, people that have grown up with me, that were screaming about how dare you take these children out of the lives of Mr. Weigel? Oh, that wasn't done on the right form. It's lies. You can talk about technicalities all you want. The people of this country, you work for the people of this country, of this state, and there is a crisis. You have failed. You have failed the citizens of this country in your role as judge of justice, of truth. You have become the biggest perpetrator of fraud. And I have all the evidence to prove it. And on top of it, it's this ugly. It is this ugly. You even say, so I agree, okay, I'm gonna show up for a court that can't be postponed in 6 days. I tell you that on that Friday, yes. You have the evidence showing that. My friend Todd texted me Sunday morning, telling me about my friend getting in the most horrific motorcycle accident down in Miami. And he was in the ICU fighting for his life. And I, of course, jumped on a plane to be down with him. And you know what? He didn't make it. He died while I was in the air. And you know what? You think he didn't know that his last buddy in the world dropped everything, risked this to be with him, tried to get there to be with him? Yeah, he knew. And even though he passed 20 hours before court, 2,000 miles away, that was not medical justification. That was not enough of an emergency. Even though I sent you before court at 1:27, like you said, unless I see plane tickets, Monday, March 27th, 11:05 a.m., Sue Ann Honing. I made it clear to your client on Friday afternoon that I was not adjourning the case. Unless I see plane tickets, train tickets, and proof of medical emergency, I am defaulting the client. 11:05 a.m. I just see that then, and I turn around at 1:27, 2 hours later. And it took me 2 hours because I needed to prove that he was actually a friend. That's how disgusting this was. Well, oh, he got in an accident a couple of days ago and you just found out now. How good of a friend are you? Yeah, some jerk friend of his didn't tell me when he should in time, and I found out late. And I did the right thing, and I went down there. I sent pictures of me and his kid. This guy who passed away, he emails me and texts me a month before he dies and says that he's become estranged with his kid. And he says, Dave, Phoenix always loved you, crazy Dave, zany Dave. Listen, man, I've seen you with your kids. Help me get back with him, man. You know, I want you in his life. Reach out to him, you know. Will you do that? I was like, absolutely, Adam. Absolutely, man. And 1 month later, he's torn limb from limb. And you have the audacity not to call that a medical emergency for a postponement. Because why? To hide this 5 years of fraud. Taylor Koss, you have proven time and time again to violate your duty of loyalty to the point of it being a punchline. Daniel notes, if you tell the truth, it is so by accident. I've never seen anyone more evil and more disturbed, more criminally disturbed than you. And Judge Dawson, at first I just thought, honestly, you were an idiot. And not until I saw how deep you would go to cover your ass with no care in the world about what your job, what your obligation, what your oath, what your duty is to the citizens of this country. You should be ashamed and you should be disbarred. I have 4,800 files of evidence. Someone needs to come and look at this case. There needs to be checks and balances in this country again if we are ever going to fix our problems.